When was IMES founded?
IMES Nature Center was begun as a homestead in 1910, and we became incorporated as a nonprofit organization in 1976.
And how have you made an impact since then?
Over the years, we've had hundreds of thousands of people visit IMES, and they've attended programs where they've learned about nature, or they have done recreation where they've gotten out to appreciate nature. And everything that we're about is teaching people to tread softly on the earth, to become better stewards of the environment, to love and appreciate the natural world. So that's the difference that we work to make, is to get people to understand how important our natural resources are and hopefully get them to love it enough to want to protect it.
How did you personally get involved with IMES?
I didn't know about IMES until I was 27, and I worked at ORAU out in Oak Ridge, and I came for a photo shoot of an IMES class because I worked with, what?
I'm sorry. I'm getting a call.
Yeah, you are.
All right, let's
We'll try the question
rewind
again.
that question.
That's all right.
Let me turn on Do Not Disturb so it doesn't happen again. This is why we edit.
Does that sound good?
We're good.
Did you record it?
Yeah.
So
How did you personally get involved with IMES?
I learned about IMES when I was 27 years old. I worked out in Oak Ridge, and we came here for a photo shoot for our annual report. And I was so mad at my mom because I've been here since second grade. And we always went west to Farragut and Concord Cove. I never knew about IMES growing up. So I learned about IMES then, and I became a visitor, and I had attended the programs, and I started work here almost 3 years ago.
Why does the Weed Warriors Initiative start?
The Weed Warriors Initiative helps us address the invasive non-native species that are choking out East Tennessee's native plants. And the native plants that are inherent to the IMES landscape and to East Tennessee are the right habitats for the wildlife that lives here. So they support the birds, they support the insects, they support the animals. And some of these invasive species that come in, these non-natives, choke out those native species. So the habitat is not as good, so the wildlife is not as prolific or as abundant as it should be. And we have invasive species that are beyond just weeds, just plants. We have goldfish that are dumped in ponds and crazy things like that that really disrupt the habitat that is available for the naturally occurring plants and animals here in the community. I need to breathe.
This way we can edit out any dead times.
Anybody going, sorry about that.
I think you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on why invasive species pose such a threat to IMES in particular?
We try to be an area where people can come and experience the natural world native to East Tennessee, to really see what East Tennessee used to look like and is supposed to look like. And when we become inundated with weeds and invasive species, some of them are very beautiful, but we understand the beneficial aspects to having those native plants for our wildlife. So when they come here and they take over like ivy or fig buttercup or all of these other invasive plants that are pretty, Lenten rose even, the helleborus is an invasive species, they really don't belong here because they don't support the native flora and fauna of East Tennessee.
What do you believe are some of the consequences of allowing invasive species to take root in the border of East Tennessee area without resistance?
The ultimate problem of being taken over by invasive species is that we lose things that are important to our history. Our butterfly populations go down, our bee populations go down. We lose animals that used to be prolific here. We don't see the red fox. So keeping them at bay and helping to preserve East Tennessee native habitats that are appropriate for this zone in our planetary line alignment, helping us keep the invasive species out, help protect the things that we feel are important to making East Tennessee unique and special.
And what are the benefits of having the brush cutter specifically?
Oh, the brush cutter will make it so much easier for our staff to maintain the land. We have 315 acres at IMES, and we have a number of volunteers that come and help us remove invasive species, but it's a never-ending battle. And a lot of the work is literally back-breaking work. I mean, it really hurts your back. You have to bend over, you have to treat, and this kind of brush cutter will make it a lot easier for our ground staff to eradicate the invasive species and really help us replant and restore our meadows and our woodlands.
How will this project impact IMES and the greater Knoxville community?
Part of the Weed Warriors program is also an educational component. So in addition to having people come to IMES and learn what native plants look like, learn what invasive plants look like, and help us remove the invasive species, they can go back to their own properties and remove those invasives and plant native landscaping. We're also having these people start their own brigades so they can take people out on the IMES property and do weeding and teach them about the non-native so that those people that we've trained can train others. And ultimately, we'd like to have a cadre of volunteers going out into the community so that they can teach residents, business owners, organizations about the benefits of native plants and help them make better choices about the types of landscaping that they have around their homes and businesses.
Let's take a pause just 1 second. You're just making sure your phone is not going to sleep mode. Take a breath.
It's my least favorite thing to do.
How's that?
I don't like it. I like taking the
either.
pictures and asking people questions. Yeah, this part not so much.
You're doing great though. This is fantastic.
Until you hear it back and you're like, I can't use that.
I can't stand my voice on the recording. Like it sounds so much different than like how I think, I sound like. I over a phone it's the same way.
I used to have to wear a headset with the radio job, and I would hear it. I'm like, oh.
Worst thing podcasts. I've done a podcast in the past, and I heard the guy. It's like, who is that? It's like, oh my gosh.
That would be you.
20% more country. I'm not over recording.
All right, what you got left?
All
All
right.
right, last question. What are your plans to expand your impact in the next few years beyond this campaign?
Ultimately, with this campaign, we hope to have a very strong, vibrant volunteer workforce that comes out and helps us maintain the 315 acres that IMES has, and also goes out into the community that helps educate the population and teach them about what to plant and what not to plant to help preserve native species in East Tennessee. So 2-3 years down the road, we hope to have hundreds of people impacted by this and thinking about natives versus non-native species.
Great. That's all the questions I have.
All right. So if you want to go back over that and go, I can't edit that, I can't do anything with that.